Hey, what's up guys? I'm Paul the Tech Giant, and today I'm going to be unboxing and taking a look at the design of the brand new iPhone 17 Pro Max in white/silver and comparing that design to my white/silver iPhone 15 Pro Max. Now you may be wondering why I'm going to be comparing the design and colour to my 15 Pro Max and not the 16 Pro Max. Well, every man and his dog's going to be comparing it to the 16 Pro Max, and I know a lot of people have a 2-year contract with their phones, so we'll be making the leap from a 15 to a 17. Okie dokie, let's first start off then by taking a quick look around the outside of the box. And first off, we get an image there of the 17 Pro Max, and it is a bit of a controversial one with the design this year. I'm undecided, but I'll make me mind up when we get the phone out of the box. Move around to the side, got iPhone there, Apple logo on the bottom, iPhone round the side, and Apple logo at the top. So flipping the phone over, and let's pull the tabs and get this bad boy open. And this is always the best bit. Ooh, lovely. And let's now lift that lid. And there she blows. So let's pull the tab and put that phone off to one side and see what accessories we get then. So first off, we have our SIM ejector tool there, and then we have our USB-C to USB-C cable, and it is braided, which is nice. Setting that off to one side, and finally we come to our paperwork, which, well, let's be honest, you're never going to read. Right, that's a boring bit out of the way. Let's get to the start of the show. So, the iPhone 17 Pro Max in white/silver. So, big design change this year, and you could tell that by the queue that I had to stand in just to collect this bad boy. It was pretty manic. So, as we can see, biggest design change has got to be this big lump up the top. So, we got the triple camera setup there as usual, but they have moved the flash and the LiDAR sensor over to one side. Now flanking either side of that big bump, which, well, it is a big bump, we have our antenna bands just there, and it does look reminiscent of the iPhone 6 from back in the day. And I wasn't a big fan of that look back then, and I'm not a big fan of that look now either. Now moving down from that, and we come to this big slab of white with the Apple logo just there. This is where your wireless charging is going to be under there. That's why we have this white section just here. And do I like that? No, I don't. It just looks like it's stuck on. It looks like it's a sticker to be peeled off. So far, I'm not really liking the design, if I'm being honest. But there you go, you know, each to their own and all that. Now moving to the bottom of the phone, and of course we have our USB-C charging port. And either side of that, we have our speaker setup. Now just moving around to the side, and we have this gimpy camera button. Now people weren't a fan of it last year, so I'm not sure they'll be a fan of it this year either. Now moving up from that, we have our power button, which sticks out just enough that you can feel it, but not so much that it's going to snag when put it into your jeans pocket. Moving around to the other side of the phone, and we come to our action button. Very useful button indeed, but I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it does sit slightly lower than the other buttons, which is good because it helps you distinguish which button you are pressing. And moving along from that, we come to our volume up and down buttons, and those both sit slightly higher than that action button. And then moving down from them, we come to our SIM card tray, and then the antenna band just below that, which is mirrored on the other side. Right, let's now compare the 17 Pro Max to the 15 Pro Max. And what we're first going to do is compare the shades of white. And from what I'm seeing, the white on the 17 Pro Max looks more crisper, a more clean looking white, where the white on the 15 Pro Max looks a little bit more creamy. So when it comes to the colour side of things, I am definitely leaning more towards the white of the 17 Pro Max. So let's just move it around there so you can get a better feel for what I am seeing. Yeah, you can see that just there. It's definitely more a whiter white, if that makes sense. And yeah, you can see that little bit of creaminess on the 15 Pro Max. So let's now compare the actual design. And both have got the triple camera setup, but as I said earlier, the LiDAR sensor and flash have been moved over to one side on the 17 Pro Max, where on the 15 Pro Max it's all in one small area. But once again, gotta be honest, I do prefer the look of the camera setup on the 15 Pro Max. But please let me know in the comment section, which camera setup do you prefer? Now moving down from the cameras, and I do prefer the overall neater look there of the 15 Pro Max. It's just a nice big slab of white, or creamy white should I say, where on the 17 Pro Max there, like I said before, it just looks like someone's whacked a sticker on there. I don't think that looks that great. Now moving around to the sides, and we've got antenna bands in roughly the same places. We've got the power buttons in roughly the same places. Of course, we have that camera control on the 17 Pro Max where we don't on the 15 Pro Max. Antenna bands again lining up there on the bottom of both. And moving down to the bottom, the USB-Cs are lining up, but we do have a difference when it comes to the speaker ports, because on the 15 Pro Max, we've got a few holes short just on that one side where they are symmetrical on the 17 Pro Max. Now just moving around, and we can see that the SIM card tray on the 17 Pro Max is lower down on the phone, where it's more in the middle on the 15 Pro Max, but then moving up for those, and then all the other buttons pretty much line up the same. So let's now compare the metals. Now on the 15 Pro Max we have titanium, and Apple did make a massive deal when they moved to titanium, but now they've gone back to aluminium again on the 17 Pro Max. And once again, I prefer the titanium of the 15 Pro Max. I think it just looks a bit more classy with it being more shiny, and the 17 Pro Max just looks a bit naff with it being matte. So what about the size difference? Well, of course, on the 15 Pro Max, we have a 6.7 inch screen, and on the 17 Pro Max, we have a 6.9 inch screen. And you can see that screen size difference once we've lined the phones up like so. We can see the 17 Pro Max is quite a bit taller there, and I don't know how well it'll come across on camera, but it is a little bit wider too. So which design do I prefer? Well, I gotta say it, I prefer the 15 Pro Max. I just think it looks a lot more neater on the back there, with it all being exactly the same. I prefer the camera bump. I think it looks more classy with the metal being shiny versus matte on the 17. I don't like that camera bump. I think that looks messy. I think it looks even more messy with this monstrosity of a white slab on there. Yeah, I think overall it is a messy looking design, where the 15 Pro Max to me just looks a lot more classy. But please let me know in the comments section, which one do you prefer and why? And finally, at this point, you're probably all pulling your hair out because I've not done the screen protector peel. So here we go. Ooh, lovely. And finally, let's turn it on for the very first time. So there we have it then guys, that about wraps up this video, but I will be doing a camera comparison between the two phones coming very soon. So if you want to see that video, then make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you've enjoyed today's video, then do us a favour and give me a thumbs up. So thanks very much for joining me today, and hopefully I'll be catching you guys on the next one. Bye for now.